So semi or semi means half or somewhat. So if you say I was semi-awake, it means you were half awake or somewhat awake. These words are a little bit more difficult this week as far as the base words that the prefix is attached to. We have semi-annual. Annual is another word that's a root that means something. So those two words together. So annual means yearly. So if something is semi-annual, it means that it happens twice a year. So if you have a semi-annual sale, usually it's something that'll happen in like June and December. So twice a year. So not a whole year, but half a year. Okay. Semicircle would be half of a circle. Semi-sweet would be kind of sweet. Not bitter and not sour, but kind of sweet. Semi-formal. So sometimes someone will have a wedding that is semi-formal, meaning you don't have to dress way up, but you probably still wouldn't show up in jeans, maybe khakis or something like that. And then semi-conscious, that's that half awake, so someone who's half conscious or kind of conscious, but not quite. Okay, so those are our words for the week, and then the words that we will continue to study next week and be tested over next week since we have a short week. We are getting really close to being done with Dear Mr. Henshaw. We are all the way, so tomorrow will actually be our last day with Lee Botts and Mr. Henshaw. So the last time we read, which was actually Thursday of last week, so it's been a while, we talked about this a little bit earlier today, but we decided that the theme of the selection that we read last week was that things happen, or not everything goes your way, right? And sometimes you just have to make the best of how things go. And we talked about how Lee was able to make the best out of his situation with his dad not being around by going and looking at the butterflies on the trees and finding peace that way. We also know that he has started to make friends with someone. He invited a friend to come over for dinner, and they worked on their lunchbox alarms together. So that's where we're at right now. A word that you're going to see today that may be unfamiliar is mildew. And mildew is a fungus that grows on plants or damp materials. So sometimes if you have clothes that have been left in the dryer too long and they kind of start to get a smell to them, that's that mildewy smell. So it builds up on damp stuff. And then honorable mention. So when someone is in a contest and they don't win a prize, but they're still recognized within the competition, that's called honorable mention. So we had a really great conversation earlier about theme, and we were kind of struggling earlier when we started talking about theme to really understand what a theme was. We talked about how some of us were getting it confused with maybe the subject or the main idea. And we figured out that a really good way to think of it is to think about what does the character learn in the story, and that, Aveline, is typically the theme. So the message that you can apply to your life, that the author is saying, this character learned this, and here's that message, you can apply that to your life. That's the lesson from the story. So remember, we use that 5-finger framework for summarizing. Remember that you don't have to use that, but it's a great tool at the beginning of learning how to summarize a piece of fiction. So we have someone wanted, but so then. So as we read today, we're going to determine the theme, and we're going to summarize the selection. I'm going to tell you right now, there are several themes that I saw come through in this story, in this selection of the story. So I have a feeling we're going to have a lot of conversation about the different themes that we see today. Okay, so you are on page 110 through 115. We're starting on 110, and we're thinking about the theme and the evidence that supports that, as well as summarizing the selection. Get to page 110 in 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Remember that you are in the text the whole time. Even if you are not actually reading out loud, you are still always reading. Are we ready? Okay, here we go. This is my turn. Mom cooked a casserole full of good things like ground beef, chilies, tortillas, tomatoes, and cheese. Barry said he really liked eating at our house because he got tired of eating with a bunch of little sisters waving spoons and drumsticks. That made me happy. It helps to have a friend. Barry says his burglar alarm still works. The trouble is, his little sisters think it's fun to open his door or set it off, or open his door to set it off. Then they giggle and hide. Everyone ready, set, go. This was driving his mother crazy, so he finally had to disconnect it. We all laughed about this. Barry and I felt good about making something that worked even if he can't use it. Barry saw the sign on my door that said, "Keep out, Mom, that means you." He asked if my mom really stays out of my room. I said, sure, if I keep things picked up. Mom is not a snoop. Barry said he wished he could have a room nobody ever went into. I was glad Barry didn't ask to use the bathroom. Maybe I'll start scrubbing off the mildew after all. Sunday, March 25th. Put your finger on I keep just to make sure we're all there. Ready, set, go. I keep thinking about Dad and how lonely he sounded.
I don't like to think about Dad, but I don't like to think about the situation.
Tonight at supper, beans and friends, I got up my courage to ask Mom if she thought Dad would get married again. My turn? She thought a while and then said, I don't see how he could afford to. He has big payments to make on the truck, and the price of diesel oil goes up all the time. And when people can't afford to build houses or buy cars, he won't be hauling lumber or cars. Sorry. I thought this over. I know that a license for a truck like this costs over $1,000 a year, but he always sends my support payments. I said, even if he is late even if he is late sometimes. Yes, he does that, agreed my mother. Your father isn't a bad man by any means. Suddenly, I was mad and disgusted with the whole thing. Then why don't you two get married again? I guess I wasn't very nice about the way I said it. Mom looked me straight in the eye. Because your father will never grow up, she said. I knew that was all she would ever say about it. Tomorrow they give out the Young Writers yearbook. Maybe I will be lucky and get to go have lunch with the famous author. Everyone, starting on Monday. Ready, set, go. Monday, March 26th. Today wasn't the greatest day of my life. When our class went to the library, I saw a stack of yearbooks and could hardly wait for Miss Neely to hand them out. When I finally got mine and opened it to the first page, there was a monster story, and I saw I hadn't won first prize. I kept turning. I didn't win second prize, which went to a poem, and I didn't win third or fourth prize either. Then I turned another page and saw honorable mention, and under it, A Day on Dad's Rig by Lee M. Botts. There was my title with my name under it in print, even if it was mimeograph print. I can't say I wasn't disappointed because I hadn't won a prize. I was really disappointed about not getting to meet the mysterious, famous author that I liked seeing my name in print. My turn? Some kids were mad because they didn't win or even get something printed. They said they wouldn't ever try to write again, which I think is pretty dumb. I have heard that real authors sometimes have their books turned down. I figure you win some, you lose some. Then Miss Neely announced that the famous author the winners would get to have lunch with was Angela Badger. The girls were more excited than the boys because Angela Badger writes mostly about girls with problems like big feet or pimples or something. I would still like to meet her because she is, as they say, a real live author. And I've never met a real live author. I'm glad Mr. Henshaw isn't the author because then I would really be disappointed that I didn't get to meet him. Friday, March 30th. Today turned out to be exciting. In the middle of second period, Miss Neely called me out of class and asked if I would like to go have lunch with Angela Badger. I said, sure, how come? Everybody on Miss Neely on page 115, put your finger there, show your neighbor if they can't find it. Ready, set, go. Miss Neely explained that the teachers discovered that the winning poem had been copied out of a book and wasn't original, so the girl who submitted it would not be allowed to go, and would I like to go in her place? Would I? Miss Neely telephoned Mom at work for permission, and I gave my lunch to Barry because my lunches are better than his. Sorry, guys. The other winners were all dressed up, but I didn't care. I have noticed that authors like Mr. Henshaw usually wear old plaid shirts in the pictures on the back of their books. My shirt is just as old as his, so I knew it was okay. Miss Neely drove us in her own car to the Holiday Inn. where some other librarians and their winners were waiting in the lobby. Then Angela Badger arrived with Mr. Badger, and we were all led into the dining room, which was pretty crowded. We're going to stop there, because that goes over to the next page where we're done. As I looked around as you guys were reading, I could see your lips moving, and I could hear your voices, and when I was reading, I was still kind of looking up and checking to make sure that other people were in the text, and I could see you guys in the text, so thank you for that. Otherwise, you're not really getting kind of the true meaning of what we're reading. So, what are some themes that you heard throughout? I'm going to give you a couple minutes to think through and come up with your answer in your notebook first, and then we'll discuss. So you're thinking about what is the theme of the selection, and you have to be able to support it with the text, right? So the theme of this selection was because it said in the text that, and then thinking about summarizing, somebody wanted, but, so, then. If that framework helps you. If it doesn't, you are welcome to summarize using your own words, right? Without starting every sentence off with someone wanted, but, so.
What was the question? Yeah, I don't really know, so I'm just gonna say. I don't know what it is.
Remember that if you are struggling, it's always okay to be thinking through what you read. And a lot of times when we have those conversations is kind of when your thoughts get flowing. So I hear several times a handful of people that might struggle a little bit, and then once we start to have those conversations, they say, oh yeah, and then you guys have, some of you who might struggle at first have some really good ideas to add on. Sometimes that conversation helps a little bit, so don't be afraid to build off a conversation. Is it okay to pick up your book and go back and look through it, to kind of skim through to see if you can remember a theme or how you need to summarize it?
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's why your book is there in front of you. Yeah, but at first, did he get to it first?
No.
Okay, and so what did he get at first?
Well, I have one and high school.
What? Okay, yeah, because what happened when that person treated? That could definitely be. Like I said, there's a lot
I
of
wonder
things.
who the author is.
He talked about it.
Who is
Her name was Angela Badger.
it? A good person?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Mr. Henshaw.
I don't think so. I think it's purely fictional.
There's another.
Is there? So what would you rate? Because, and how do you know that was a theme that came from the selection?
Because she said it was a cheat.
And what happened? What was the consequence? She didn't get to be with the author because she cheated, right? Yeah, that's a great thing. Just another minute for you to start writing, or for you to finish up your writing, and then we'll talk about some of the themes. Yeah, definitely. Okay. Let's talk about some lessons that were learned, and maybe not Lane and Aveline, maybe not Lane. Excuse me. Maybe not just the main character this time. I heard a couple different people talking about some lessons that might have been learned through other characters in this selection. What was one lesson that you came up with that translated into a theme for this selection? Olivia?
My theme was if you try hard and don't get what you want, your hard work will eventually pay off.
If you say that again.
If you try hard and don't get what you want, your hard work will eventually pay off.
If you try hard and don't get what you want, your hard work will eventually pay off if you continue to work hard.
That's a good thing.
Nice, yeah. So Quentin said that's a good theme. So what's something that supported that? How did you come up with that?
I came up with that because Lee was really disappointed when he found out he didn't win, but then he worked hard. But the girl who got she got disqualified, I guess, and she didn't get to eat lunch, so they asked if Lee wanted to eat lunch in her place.
Why do you think they asked Lee? Out of all of the other kids who could have been, who were in the contest, why do you suppose they asked Lee?
Because since he was an honorable mention, he probably was one of the best that just didn't get picked. So they chose him.
Yeah, so they by being the honorable mention, they still recognized his hard work, like you said, and then he ended up benefiting from that. Yeah. Thanks, Olivia. Call in someone else, would you?
In hers, she kind of did a summary because she said Lee wanted, but so then.
Oh yeah.
So she kind of.
So within Olivia's theme, she sort of summarized the selection too. I like that. So what would say it in your own words? What would the summary be from what Olivia just said?
I don't really. My summary was a lot different.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll come back to you then. I thought maybe from what she said, you would be able to put that in your own words. But yeah, if yours was different, we'll come back to that.
It's kind of the same though.
Well, let's give it a shot. What do you have?
Lee wanted to win the lunch with the author, but they didn't win, so he got upset a little. Then he got to go.
Okay, yeah, I like how you said he got upset a little. Yeah, because did he throw a big fit or? Yeah, he kind of handled it pretty well, right? Maybe that's why they chose him because they knew he'd handle it well. Is that kind of what you're thinking? Yeah. Addie, what was your theme?
My theme was
You don't get what you want. Okay, talk about that.
Because he didn't get first or second prize, but the girl cheated and he got to go.
So
good comes out of bad.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so good can come out of bad. I like that. Call on someone else.
Taylor? I think they chose me because they drew names.
Oh, okay. You think they chose Lee just kind of randomly? Okay. Did you have a theme to share, Taylor?
No, it was hard.
Okay. Yeah. Is it okay if you didn't get a theme written on your notebook because you were still thinking or it was kind of hard? Is it okay for you to start writing some things down after you're hearing other people's ideas? Absolutely. Oftentimes we come up with stuff based off of other people's ideas. Definitely. So if you can kind of see how that became a theme, it's okay to start writing down other people's thoughts in your own words. Lainey?
Does it have to be a lesson?
Well, as far as a theme goes, a theme generally is some kind of lesson or message that comes from it. But let's see what you had.
Mine was getting lucky.
Getting lucky. Ooh, okay. What was it? Who got lucky? And let's talk it through.
Lee got lucky because he was not about to go to the lunch with the author, but he got to because the girl that had second place cheated because she wrote a poem from another book.
Okay. So I wonder if someone like Olivia would argue with you about whether or not that was luck. Olivia,
Because it was luck.
why?
Because I really don't think it was luck. I think he wrote a good poem. He actually put time and hard work into it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think they would just choose a random person
Mm-hmm.
who didn't put their best work into that.
Okay. Lainey, response?
But he got lucky because there is a whole other 6th grade to choose from.
Okay. So Lainey's saying, so through luck, Lainey's saying sort of like there were a lot of people to choose from. He got lucky to get chosen, and Olivia's saying, well, he didn't get lucky. He worked really hard, and that was recognized, and so he was sort of the natural next selection. Okay, I see a lot of other hands going up now. Olivia, why don't you call on someone?
I have 2 things to share. But I agree with Lainey. I think it was sort of just luck that he might have put hard work and time into it. But I really think that they had a big drawing. Plus, there's a whole other 6th grade, like she said, and stuff. But my theme is really like Addie's because was you don't always get what you want, but you have to just flow with what you get and just keep on going and don't quit. He didn't quit when he found out he was in the memorable whatever, and he heard other people just keep on going. I'm quitting. I'm never writing again.
Mhm.
But he said that's just dumb.
Mhm.
I don't want to quit the thing I've always liked. And if they always like that, then why not? Why are you quitting it now?
Yeah, and he actually said you win some, you lose some. That's just kind of a way of saying like, yeah, it stinks, I'm disappointed, but hey, you win some, you lose some, and I didn't win this one. If we are, that term, honorable mention, means, so all of the other kids, so I think it was first, second, third, fourth place, Lee was technically then 5th place. The first 4 kids won the award of eating with the author. So naturally, Lee would be the next person should anything happen to those 4 kids. So he was being recognized for his hard work as being honorable mention. Now they might have said, hey, your story wasn't quite as good as the first 4, and then since that girl, the girl that cheated, kind of messed up, right? Then he was the natural next person and was being mentioned, right? Or recognized for still having worked hard. So I would say it was probably in that, I would say people would say, ooh, I got lucky, right? But if you kind of think deep into it, well, you were the natural next person. I mean, you were in 5th place behind the four kids. We are running low on time, and I knew that this was going to build a lot of conversation, and so I wish we just had a whole hour or 2 to talk about this, because I know we could talk about it for the whole time. Let's move on to summarizing. So who has a summary? Who can summarize that selection for us? Christopher, what do you have?
We wanted to win 2 words, so he got disappointed. Then the teacher said he can read a lot more.
Christopher, could you read that again? I'm sorry. I have a side conversation happening, and I was having a hard time hearing what you said.
Lee wanted to win a prize, but he didn't, so he got disappointed. Then the teacher said he can meet a real author. I didn't have enough room, and I was gonna say because the girl cheated.
Love it. Thank you. Chris, call on someone else. Who else has a summary?
We wanted to have lunch with the author, but then he didn't. But then he didn't, but he was kind of upset. But
upset because he got an honorable mention, and he was technically in 5th place. And then since the girl, since 2nd place cheated, he got to go, and he was happy.
Jack, could you say that one more time, please?
We wanted to have lunch with the author, but he couldn't, so he was a bit down. He got an honorable mention, but then 2nd place cheated, and we got to go, and he was happy.
That's right. Very similar. Did I hear?
Yeah, that's first.
I can't.
Second place too.
Just okay. So we were able to find several messages that came through in this small selection of an entire book, and that shows that oftentimes a book or a selection can have several themes. It's important that you're able to support your theme with evidence from the text, which I heard you guys doing over and over again. And we also noticed that some things can even be argued, which is deep. That really shows an understanding of the text when you can get deep and start arguing back and forth. So very nice. And then summary. Yeah, we had them said in different ways, but kind of came up with the same idea of Lee wanted to win. He didn't. He was disappointed, but he carried on, and then he ended up getting to eat with the author anyway, and he was happy about that. Thank you for a great, rich conversation. And we are going to be putting our materials and moving on to writing.